Hey guys, welcome back to FreckleFace Finance, where we discuss personal finances open and honestly so that you can live the life that you deserve. So today is not going to be a super long video. I don't want to belabor the point. I'm going to get straight to it, and your girl is in debt. So I have been going back and forth on whether or not I was going to put this video out, but I feel like I already put y'all in so much of my business already that, why not just sprinkle a little bit more on there. So if you guys are new to my channel, I'm a personal finance channel, and I feel like a lot of the personal finance people, or at least in this space, always talk about the good things and they never really talk about the not so great things, right? And like the room for improvement within this personal finance space. So I'm gonna just go ahead and just put it on out there that, everything is not always perfect and that there's mistakes and we can definitely learn from those, and I might as well learn from my mistakes with you guys so that I can hopefully help you steer away from making the same mistakes that I did. So without further ado, if you guys will be interested in how I got back in debt, how you can hopefully not make the same mistakes that I did and get on a path to paying off your debt if you're in debt, then go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the good. So if you're new to my channel, back in 2021, I was actually debt free. So I paid off all of my debt with the exception of my house, of course. But I had no credit card debt, I had no student loan debt, no car debt. I had absolutely no debt and just only had investments. So I consider my house as an investment and not necessarily a debt. So in 2 years, one of the mistakes that I've made that has gotten me back in debt is that, I know you guys have heard of lifestyle creep. I am not a lifestyle creeper. I don't be creeping on nothing. I'm so corny. But anyways, I did not participate in lifestyle creep. I've never been interested in keeping up with the Joneses. I don't drive a fancy car. I don't have any fancy clothes. I don't wear jewelry. Like, I just pretty much am a very simple but not basic, type of person. So I never was like, trying to keep up and put on this fake facade. So that is not what got me. What got me is that I continue to live my life how I've always lived it. When things start to get more expensive, I did not adjust my budget, and that was the number one mistake that I did. That in this time frame, when everything around me was getting more expensive, and although I wasn't buying more things, I still bought the things that I was already purchasing, and then just did not update my budget to account for how expensive everything else was getting. So for example, my water bill went up, my electric bill went up, house insurance, car insurance, like everything was going up. And so I was just, paying those bills in full, and I was still making sure that I was contributing the same amount to my savings and investment accounts. So it was very important to me to not decrease my savings and investments, although everything else was increasing and I didn't have, pretty much my money wasn't going as far as it used to. And so I was still spending on the same amount of things that I was, but they were just costing significantly more money. So that was number one, is that I did not readjust my budget. Looking back in hindsight, if I can go back, I probably should have, and no one is going to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. I probably should have started to contribute less to my retirement investment accounts and savings accounts, because there really wasn't any more money that, like, I couldn't decrease my standard of living because I really wasn't doing anything, right? Like, I can't make my mortgage go down. I can't make my water bill go down, my electric bill, like that stuff, like, I just be doing the bare necessities. So the only place that I really had on my budget to decrease would have been my retirement investments and savings account. And at the time, I just refused. Like, I really prided myself on being able to contribute so much to those accounts that I didn't want to change that number. And that really, caused me to go in debt. So that was mistake number one that I definitely learned from. And, you live and you learn. So mistake number two is that I just had some bad investments. Is there such thing as a bad investment? I feel like when you invest in things, sometimes the investments go good, sometimes they don't, right? And I think as long as you learn from them, it's not really I think you can make poor decisions, but I feel like I was making very educated and understanding my risk when I made investments, and they just did not turn out. So an example of this real life scenario, which I'm sure a lot of y'all got caught up into as well, is that I had all of my student loans paid off. So when Biden said that he was working towards, helping us repay our student loans and blah, 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 I requested a refund, and I'm sure a lot of y'all did as well. And looking back on hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that, but I really looked at that as an opportunity to have expendable money so that I can make investments, okay? And y'all, those investments just did not turn out the way that I would have hoped. And then on top of that, the student loans didn't get forgiven. So I mean, it was just a bad, financial investment on my part, but I learned from it. And I remember reading this article that said, the article was talking about how 7 businesses fail before one succeeds, right? So, hopefully I don't got 6 more mistakes to make before I become a millionaire, but I'm just putting it out there that I did make some less than profitable, maybe not less than profitable, we're just gonna say very not profitable investment decisions that did not turn out in my favor, and the money just poofed away. So that is mistake number 2. If you guys are watching this, I would recommend, definitely make financial investment opportunities if you can. And I feel like I was in a position to do so because my financial investments did not bankrupt me. I still have a roof over my head. I have a little bit of debt, but for the most part, I'm going to be able to walk away from that, financial mistake that I made, and I was able to learn from it and able to teach y'all about it as well. Okay, you guys, so now that I've talked about my, not so flattering financial mistakes that I've made, which was mostly not readjusting my budget when the cost of living of everything around me went up, and then also making some non-profitable investments that just did not pan out. Now I'm going to talk to you guys. I know what you're really here for is how much debt am I in and what is my plan in order to tackle that debt. Okay, so drum roll please. And I wonder, can you do a drum roll for something that's not a good thing? What is the opposite of a drum roll? Or how do you have, what sound effect is for bad news? But anyways, I am in total in debt of $40,000. So $25,000 of that is from credit card debt, and then $15,000 of that is from student loan debt again. So that is a whopping total of $40,000. And I know some of you guys may be thinking, oh my gosh, that is so much to be in debt in just 2 years, right? And it is. I'm not sugarcoating that. But I definitely feel like I am in a financial position to be able to make my payments, not just the minimum payments, I'm able to exceed the minimum payments. And so my estimated time to be able to pay off that $40,000 of debt is probably by summer of next year. So by June 30th or 31st, whichever, I'm not saying that I'm an expert on calendar days. I feel like I'm pretty good with finances, but the calendar days is where I might draw the line. But anyways, June 30th or whatever the last day of June is of 2024, I'm estimating that I'll be able to pay off my debt in full, and I want you guys to hold me accountable. So now I've discussed how I got in debt, what the debt is, I'm going to talk to you guys about what my payoff debt routine and plan of action is. The first step to be able to pay off any debt, no matter how big or how small it is, you have to be able to identify what that debt is and how much it is. So in my case, like I said, I have 25 in credit card debt, and then I have 15 in student loan debt. So I'm not a big advocate of consolidating loans, especially not student loans. If you have federally backed or government backed student loans, I think you should just keep them where they are. There's tons of research on the benefits of keeping them where they are. So I definitely do not plan to consolidate my consumer debt and my financial student loan debt. So not going to consolidate them. I'm just going to keep them separate. And I do have that $25,000 credit card debt over the span of 2 different credit cards, and I don't plan on consolidating that into one card either. So I know back in the past, before I started a YouTube channel, I did do a consolidation, not with the student loans, but I put all of my credit card debt onto one credit card. And I found that with my I would say impulses or just my mindset, That strategy did not work out for me, and I've also seen like a lot of people on YouTube who talk about that strategy not working out for them either. And I think it's because you see zero balances on so many cards, and then you might not spend on your highest balance card, but then the lower cards you just end up racking more debt onto. And so if you are able to have extremely, very strong self-control, and so if you're able to consolidate it into one, I guess, high limit credit card, then be my guest. But I know me, myself, and I, and from other people that I look up to in the financial space, that it was just not beneficial. So I don't recommend it, but if that's something that you're into, I know the Capital One card, I think I'll put it like up here somewhere. It is really good for consolidating if that is something that you're interested in. If that is the route that you want to take, then I do recommend making sure that it's going to have a zero balance. Back in the day, y'all, they used to do zero balance transfers and then zero interest for like 12 to 24 months. I haven't seen cards offer that type of incentive these days because everything is so tight. But if you are able to find a zero balance transfer and zero interest for 18 to 24 months, that is what I would recommend if that's the path that you want to go. But in my case, I'm just going to go ahead and keep my money on the cards that they are, and then just make the payments from there. So now that you've identified how much you owe and what type of debt you owe, you need to be able to identify how much you can afford to pay. So in order to do that, you need to make a budget. So I'll go ahead and plug myself up here where I did a how to make a budget video. There's tons of videos in the financial independence space or that you guys can look for in order to create a budget. But pretty much the second step is being able to outline what you owe, when it's due. I give a lot of tips in that video on how to change your due date, just so that you constantly have money in your account on your due date and you're not overdrafting yourself. And I'm a big proponent of automatic payments, so if you guys are interested in tips like that, go ahead and check out that video. So the third thing that you need to do in order to pay off debt is you need to be able to increase your income. And so I know that is a lot easier said than done. And when you're in this financial space, of course, increasing your income is always going to be, the answer to the problem, right? But I really do mean it. If you guys can increase your income in any way, the only reason I recommend that too is because it is so hard to lower your expenses right now, because every time I leave the house, I feel like I spend $100. So it's really hard to decrease your expenses in this current environment. And I trust that you guys are doing the best that you can. And I know that in, my particular situation, it's very difficult for me to decrease my expenses because everything is just very expensive. And I'm telling y'all, I don't be doing nothing. I don't be doing nothing. So it's very hard to decrease my expenses. And so I had to increase my income. So you guys know that I got a higher paying job, and that is kind of going to leverage me into getting an even better higher paying job. So if you guys are interested in that career growth that I had earlier this year, you can go ahead and check out this video on my career change. But I will say, on top of that, I also picked up a part-time job. And so I highly recommend that for you guys. My part-time job specifically is doing security, and I really like it because I'm currently studying for a certification in order to boost myself up professionally. And so the part-time security job that I have is on the weekends, and the office building that I'm securing, or top security of the world, Craig.
We top flight security of the world, Craig.
The office building that I'm securing on the weekends is closed, and so I'm just pretty much, I have the opportunity to sit there and study for my certification and get paid for it. So I really like that aspect of my part-time job. And so I am a big proponent of picking a part-time job that is going to be beneficial to you in some way or capacity other than money. And so that is why I selected that part-time job. I did talk about different strategies and stuff in order to increase your income in this video right here. I'm so sorry, you guys, but I do have a few videos on my channel where I've already talked about this, and so I don't want to waste you guys' time because it's not specifically related to this video. But I did pick up that part-time job in order to increase my income, and I strategically picked that job so that I could have time to study for my certification. So the fourth thing that I think you guys definitely need to consider if you are on a debt-free journey like I am and you want to do this with me is, let me speak directly into the camera, you guys. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you have food at home. You don't need to go nowhere. You don't need to order Uber Eats. You don't need to pick nothing up on your way home. You got food at home. And so that is tip number 4 in order to pay off any debt that you guys have. And I'll be telling myself that, y'all, every day. I done ate spaghetti for the 3rd day in a row. I've been eating spaghetti for the 3rd day in a row. And so if I can do it, I know that you can too. Okay, so last but not least, my 5th and final step for you guys in order to pay off debt is to just know that you can do it. The advice of this whole entire video is that you need to stay in the game. You can do it. I know that I've done it before. This is my 2nd time around, and if I can do it, you can do it. So you really just need to visualize yourself being able to pay off debt and how you're going to feel and how accomplished you'll feel once you're able to do that. I know that for me, the first time that I did it, I just had a huge weight lifted off of my shoulder when I was able to say, I have no student loan debt, I have no credit card debt, I have no car debt. It's just such a great feeling, and I want all of you guys to experience that. And so the best way that I know how to be able to help motivate you into believing that you can do it is just to tell you that you can stay in the game. Just stay in the game, focus on the prize, set a timeline and a time frame based off your budget on when you'll be able to do that. And then me, I'm a list person. I love making lists. I'm a very visual person. There is a electronic budget that I use, but when I'm like doing debt and stuff like that, like I do my budget in an Excel spreadsheet, but I'm very visual when it comes to paying off my debt. And so what I actually did was I made this sticky note cork board where I was able to calculate how many payments I needed to make in order to pay off all of my debt by, June 30th or 31st, 2024, right? And so what I did was I put all of these different payments, and they aren't all the same amount. And so that way, whenever I'm having a month where, something came up unexpectedly and I can't make this particular, this dollar amount payment for my credit cards or my student loans, I have different sticky notes that I can choose from. So I have like a low payment, which is like, it's still higher than the minimum balance, but I have a low payment that I can make, and then I have a medium payment, if everything went well that month. And then if I have extra money, like I had very low expenses or I got extra income from somewhere, I can make a higher payment. And I wrote all of these 3 different payments on sticky notes. So I have however many payments you have. So let's say I have 20 payments total. I'll have a sticky note of $1,000 payment, and then I have a separate sticky note of a $2,000 payment, and then I might have a sticky note of like a $1,500 payment. And so that way, whenever I'm ready, I make my payments on a weekly basis because my part-time job pays me on a weekly basis, but you guys can set it up however you want. But whenever I'm ready to make a payment, I just find it so exciting to go over to my debt cork board and cross off that I've made that payment. So I'm definitely a very visual person when it comes to that. And so I found that method to be very helpful in helping me pay off my debt. So I just get excited about it. And then I can really see at all times my debt going down, right? I don't have to open an app or log in. I can physically see it on an everyday basis. Hey, this is how much I have left. So if you guys are interested in trying that, just leave me a comment down below. I'll be sized. I actually learned that in DC, the word sized. But anyways, so if you guys are visual people as well, then I would recommend that method. And then if you give it a try, just leave me a comment down below because I'll be very excited to see how many people have tried it and what you guys think about it. Alright, you guys, so I already said that I did not want this video to be too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. As you can see, I'm in a great mood, y'all. Things have been so good, and I can't wait to share them with you. Just on my new job and my career and just how things have been going for me, besides this debt, obviously. But other than that, I have just been really good. So I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. And if you are going on a debt-free journey as well, or if this is your 2nd time around like me, or 3rd or 4th or 5th time, as long as you're acknowledging it and being able to make conscious decisions to do better, it doesn't matter how many times you guys start your debt-free journey over. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.